How long has the FBI had in their possession what you saw, these wire transfers at the Department of the Treasury?
Years, longer than we have. We've only had subpoena power for less than 100 days. And we saw Christopher Wray this week. We had that, I believe, was going to be the smoking gun to connect the president to some of the shell companies and the things that were going on in the Hunter Biden family. But when you see the federal government really stonewall you, you know they've had this for years, and you know that they haven't done a damn thing about it. And I don't care if you have an R or D by your name. I call the balls and strikes straight down the middle. And the fact that they're allowing this to go on, allowing this to happen, they're prosecuting Donald Trump for misdemeanors, but they won't look at a president who has betrayed his country. And you look at the revolving door in the White House, you look at the flights that Hunter Biden was on, you look at a grandchild getting money from communist China. Like, what the hell? Like, why is this happening? Nieces and nephews and all those things. And so we want the American people to get the truth so they can make a decision. And if the DOJ or the FBI won't do their job, we'll do it for them. We'll make sure that information gets out to the American public.
Well, the depth of this and the wire transfers that you have seen with your own eyes, which obviously had you had a physical reaction to, which why I brought it up. It's so unlike your character. So when you went through these and you saw these wires, just give us, how deep did this go? How much was it? How deep did it go? And do you have evidence that it got to Biden, Joe Biden, when he was VP?
I saw singular suspicious activity reports that were tens of millions of dollars, just a single one, and multiple shell companies, multiple Biden family members all getting money. And that included a brother, a son, current wives, ex-wives, a grandchild, nieces and nephews, people that had no business playing with seed money from China, communist China, including one individual who has been accused of collecting intel for communist China. And so when you look at the amount of corruption, the level of corruption going to the highest office in our land, you saw the revolving door of White House meetings and appointments with Hunter Biden's associates and colleagues and business partners. And you look at how Joe Biden's, some of his bills were paid by family members, and it's wrong. It should be, it looks like wire fraud. It looks like racketeering. RICO comes to mind. And yet nothing, no one, no law enforcement agency, not the FBI, not the DOJ, nobody is indicting this family for these things, and they should be.
Can you explain why?
Well, it's hard to say why. I mean, the evidence is right there. And one of the things that we're doing an oversight with Jamie Comer is providing this information as we get it. We can show publicly, we can't show the suspicious activity reports. We're not allowed to do that. But we can show bank records, for example, when we get them. We can show documents that we get once we subpoena from the FBI. Now, the FBI document that the whistleblower told us about, that document exists. We know that it does. And Christopher Wray all but confirmed that last week when he stonewalled the oversight committee. But we've got to get that documentation into the hands of the public. We need a subpoena. We have subpoena power. And, if we subpoena certain individuals down the road later this year or next year and they don't show up, we're going to hold them in contempt. Those are the kinds of things that need to happen to hold our government accountable.
I mean, it's just an incredible situation. Have you seen this money coming in? Is there any evidence that there was any companies or services that the Bidens offered in return for taking
None.
this money? Like
None.
normally
There's
you get money, you get
there's
a wire
no,
in, right?
Yeah, there's no business plan. None of the Biden family members are registered as foreign agents. There's literally no reason for this. And then when you see the over 24 shell companies, you had like Rosemont Seneca 1, Rosemont Seneca 2, 3, ABC. You had dozens of Rosemont Seneca companies. It looked like classic racketeering. I mean, that's what, in money laundering, that's what, if you were a crime syndicate and you were laundering money, that is exactly the way that you would set it up. And it's very complicated, obviously too complicated for mainstream media to really understand and dive into, since they won't talk about it, write about it, or investigate it. When Watergate happened, it was the mainstream media that were doing the investigation, that brought that information to the forefront, to the public, to voters. But God forbid, We did see the Daily Beast a few days ago. They got it right. They said it should be investigated. I think they were the only ones on the left side of the media saying, yeah, well, we need to find out what the facts are about this. And so, very few people on the left are willing to admit when they're wrong. I mean, they just, it's always about winning and raising money and never about holding anyone accountable.